Hey everyone, welcome to the Underground Sound. I am DJ X Tech. With me, as always, is Carlos Fandango and special guest host today, Luke H. Reynolds. Luke, Carlos, say hi, please, both.
Hey guys, for having me on.
Hey, Carlos and I are obviously putting us back into music.
So please do like, subscribe, and share, and we'll find the music that you love to hear. And also don't forget to hit the bell so you get notifications of any shows that we upload.
That's right. Those go up pretty frequently. We're working on a few skits, and so we do have today. We're recording our episode 21. We will have our New Year's Eve show up shortly. As you know, obviously the Christmas show will be up. Has been up at this point. No, it won't be up. This will be this Friday's show.
Is it?
This will be this Friday's show. The Christmas show technically comes out on Sunday.
Oh.
And then the New Year's Eve show will be the Saturday after that. So, well, in either case, you know what to do. Pop along the channel and find these videos. Hop into the video description below. Find these musicians. Go show some love. Luke, tell us something, man. How's TikTok going for you these days?
TikTok's going good. We are almost at 40,000 followers, so we are just couple hundred short, and we're praying that we can get there by the end of the year. Shows have been good. Put out another song, so I've got 2 songs out, and we put out a music video for the first song, and that's kind of where we are. It's been a pretty accomplished year, and given I started all this literally 1 year ago.
So Luke, how did you get that video done? I'm always keen because, yeah, I've got a green screen at home, but it looks like a green screen at home when I do some videos on it. But in terms of getting a video done, how do you go about doing that? Because there'll be artists out there right now, like myself, like ourselves, independent artists, and it's not easy getting them done unless you know the right people, or sometimes if people have got record companies behind them and a lot of funds, easy peasy. But for anybody who hasn't got the time, the resource, the money, how would you go about it? So how did you do it?
In this case, I decided to my fans paid, so I basically put it out to them that I wanted to record a music video. I thought it was the right thing to do for my first single. I wanted to go all in. Excuse me, and they funded it. And I was able to go out to LA from the East Coast to shoot in LA the music video, which was shot in Malibu with a full-blown production crew. But I also have shot videos here in Raleigh, not full-blown music videos, but I think it's obviously about networking with the right people, finding somebody. There are a lot of people who shoot content now, and then I do a lot of my own content as well. Like I'm shooting my own little videos at home now. The cameras are becoming so inexpensive. You can do it with a GoPro, and it doesn't take too much. But my video was, and you'll be able to tell that it had a very professional.
I could see it when I saw it. Yeah.
Yeah, it had full cinematographer and all that. It was very, very a professional, very nerve-wracking experience.
So, which video are we talking about here? Did I miss something, or was this for
this? Well, I only spotted it earlier because I was sharing I told Susie, she's gone up to Scotland for Christmas, so I said to her, "Oh, we've got a featured guest on today, Luke H. Reynolds," and I sent the video to The Perfect Song. So it's the one that we've featured on the show previously, yeah. And it's a nice video, yeah, very, very professionally done.
It wasn't ready when you guys. It was close. It wasn't fully ready, but it came out very shortly after we did the first show. So it had been filmed already. It just had been released yet.
Good deal. I'll have to make a note of it. You'll be able to find the link to the video down in the video description below. And let's hit it, gentlemen. What do you say? What do we got going on here? First song, Carlos.
All right, we've got a returning artist we've had before, which is Middlebees, aka John Manos, who I've also featured actually as a Fandango fave for one of the songs. Just seems to be turning out song after song that are sort of nice radio friendly, poppy, commercially viable songs. This one is actually called "Move It a Million Miles Away." So, and you'll probably get the sort of the feel of the sort of, I think, very, very 90s vibe, but it's very bouncy, meaty, beaty, big and bouncy, as they say in, well, that was The Who, actually, that had an album out called that. So this, I hope you'll enjoy.
I was going to say, who on earth is saying meaty, meaty, big and bouncy?
Meaty, beaty, big and bouncy. That was, I think it was a Who album. I don't know if it was released in America, but it was one in this country. Very,
right.
very Who title.
Well, here we go. Let's check it out. This is the Middlebees with "Move It." Annotations, "A Million Miles Away."
Some days grow brighter, some days are twice as blue. Well, I don't know about you today. Slap on your sneakers, saddle up that rocking chair. It's not polite to stare, but I know someday you'll see things their way. When you're gonna move it to the other side, you get away, but only if you got a ride far enough to stay a million miles away. Talk to your sister, she'll tell you where it's at. She knows your comfort zone's a trap. Reach for your partner when you're running out of gas. Why not give them a chance to show, to prove the power of two? When you're gonna move it to the other side, you get away, but only if you got a ride far enough to stay a million miles away. Sometimes there's sorrow in the sunrise. A thousand dreams fade out the moment that you open your When you're gonna move it to the other side, you get away, but only if you got a ride far enough to stay a million miles away. A million miles away. A million miles away. A million miles away, 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 away,
There we have it. That was "Move It a Million Miles Away" from the Middlebees. Our guest commentator, Luke H. Reynolds. What'd you think, sir? I think you might need to turn on your mic, Luke.
Sorry, guys. I kept notes
No
on
worries.
my. I thought it was very upbeat. It had kind of a simple melody to it, nice vocals. I kind of say it has kind of a modern Beatles feel to it. Is kind of what I got from it. And it also, I kind of thought in my mind, it could be an opening to a movie. Like, you know, you get the credits and you get set up, and it just feels like one of those songs that sets up an opening of a movie. So it had a nice commercial feel. Overall, I think it was done really good. like I said, the vocals fit perfectly, and I think it was just well executed.
I gotta say, the Middlebees usually do not disappoint from the songs that I've heard. Carlos Fandango, what say you, sir?
Yeah, I think that's a really good call, Luke, actually, on the film thing, because it does feel like a sort of Notting Hill type of those kind of films, Love Actually, or something around those lines. Those kind of rom-com type films would be perfect for that, actually. Yeah, very commercial. And of course, yeah, going on from the sort of the Beatles vibe, I've got written down Oasis, Britpop 90s, which is obviously, you know, heavily based on Beatles and 60s beat generation pop music. But the vocal, I always think that John Manos has a very Neil Hannon of Divine Comedy type of vocal, very strong sounding vocal. The chorus, memorable and melodic. Got retro sounds in there with the rock organ sound, but it's a bit of a finger snapper, foot tapper, head nodder, and I think it's got a really good happy groove about it. I really like that song, very radio friendly, and I just feel like the Middlebees need a bit more exposure and need to, you know, we need to get them out there really, because they're producing really good music.
Well, that's one of the things. We need to get a lot of these artists out there, because there's a lot of artists that are you know, producing really great music. Middlebees being one of them, of course. I got this nice little campy feel to it, like what you guys are saying. Like I would say, imagine like a beach flick, like in the early '80s, late '70s. Something on the beach. It gives off that kind of like warm little vibe to it, right? The production, I'm going to say, probably is top notch. I mean, I'm hearing it through the computer speakers. I'm, you know, out and about this episode here, folks. Let me actually delete my background here for a second. I'll show you why. Boom. That's where I'm at today. So
Mickey Mouse.
There it is. Yeah. So I do not have my monitors. I do not have my headphones, and I do not have my mixer. And it was just way too much to take, you know, on a trip out to near Orlando here at Disney World to bring the family. But I like the groove. You know, the Middlebees, it seems like it's a bit of a departure from the usual music, because most of their stuff is a little bit heavier rock, where this lays into the kind of like softer kind of foundation. Like I said, very vacation-y kind of like vibe to it and everything like that. But again, from what I can hear on the computer speakers, I think it's very well produced and nicely done. It's definitely a nice, catchy, head bobby kind of jingle to it. So I like it. Good choice. We got song number 2 going on here. This is Nyliko Mhlarhi. Yeah,
Nyliko Mhlarhi. So
this thing looks slightly familiar.
We haven't actually had a Nyliko before, but it's from Zanin in South Africa. So the only other South African we've had, which artist we've had, was Lion J, country singer from South Africa so far. So this is our second contributor. But it says gospel circular singer-songwriter based in Limpopo, South Africa. This one, though, is you know, I wouldn't be fooled by the gospel circular song sort of thing here, because this one's more of a sort of we're talking about Americana earlier, and when we were chatting earlier, but and folk and things. I think, you know, this is it's more akin to something very American rather than South African here. Quite an interesting one. This one's actually called Free Slave as well.
See that it's called Free Slave. It is also available on Spotify, and if you actually look into Nyloko's profile beyond the initial screen there, you'll see that he does have an Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube channels as well. For the time being, let us enjoy Nyliko Mhlarhi. Or do I pronounce the H on that? Mhlarhi. I'm thinking none. I'm just missing Mhlarhi. It sounds
I think Mhlarhi, yeah,
rolls off the tongue a little bit better, right? So Nyliko Mhlarhi with Free Slave. Let's check it out.
Glitter in the sun can mess you up. Even though you feel you don't belong. Oh, the blazing flames will warm your flesh. I'll bend your spirit into ashes. It was your freedom that got you there. Now free yourself from this jelly candy. Oh yes, you are right, you can do it yourself. That's where surrender becomes your friend. Living in deceit can weigh you down. And in your penthouse, eating fears and feeling your soul trembling. That's how you know you need out. It was your free will that got you jailed. Yeah. Now take the dollar and buy your way out. Oh yes, you know you can do it by yourself. That's when submission becomes your friend.
Mr. Reynolds, take it away, sir. What'd you think?
Yeah, I thought it had kind of a. I'm always trying to connect to the roots of it. Kind of a Radiohead feel. Feels a little bit like a Radiohead kind of feel to it. I thought the voice is very unique. That's probably my key, the driver for this artist, is to showcase that unique voice that he has. Kind of remind me, his voice kind of had that Chris Stapleton kind of grungy, scratch to it that's really appealing and different. I thought the mix could be a little bit different, but again, we're not listening to it on monitors. I'm not by no means a mixing expert. I think it could just get better with a little bit more mixing. I thought it had a very good kind of relaxed vibe to it. Good enough shift, maybe like I said, just maybe a little bit in the mix could probably really bring it to be an amazing song.
How about you, Carl? What do you think, sir?
Yeah, I mean, I like the vocally, for me, it's very sort of later Bob Dylan, the very strong raspiness and graveliness in the voice, and musically, I think something like the band might have done years ago, perhaps with Bob Dylan. But I like the fade in with that guitar riff, the acoustic guitar riff, plus the organ riff, sort of bouncing off each other, and that fades out as well. So it sort of comes in, tells a story, fades out, which I like that. It's like a sort of passing story that goes moving by on a wagon or something. But yes, goes big into the chorus and then quietens down again. So it's nice ebb and flow. I think the using breaths or that it rhythmically is really underused. There's a lot of sounds that are underused, whistling on songs, all sorts of things that used to be used a lot aren't these days. So it's really noticeable when somebody does use it, and it's good. It's I like it. So all in all, yeah, I think you're right. There's probably a little bit of work on the mix slightly to do, but I think actually when you hear it on big monitor speakers, it comes across quite well. His vocals are very prominent in the mix when you hear it on monitor speakers. But yeah, I think overall actually I quite like it. But you could, again, it's with all these things, as Luke says, it's you can approach every song slightly differently, and that's where the producer becomes really important, because they put their stamp on it often. When they've got the control, then they'll put their stamp on it and make it sound like their vision. Or the artist who puts their stamp on it, it'll be their vision. But either way, there's always different ways of approaching songs that give it a different spin.
Right. I agree. Yeah. From what I was getting, I thought it was a well-produced song. I here's the thing. I agree with you, Carl, on the Bob Dylan side of it as far as the storytelling is concerned, because Bob Dylan was a really good storyteller, right? So each one of his songs really had a nice point. So this one had a nice point to it as far as the lyrics are concerned. The deep, raspy voice honestly reminded me of Wyclef Jean. If you recall, even back, to the Fugees days, and then later on when he went solo, it just really reminds me of Wyclef Jean. But I like this song just because of the story, really. The lyrics are so well put together, and the raspy voice like really drives all of that home. So I think it was good as far as that's concerned, honestly.
The voice has a lot of character in it, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. There's
and that can count for a lot, because you listen to sort of I love Johnny Cash full stop, but the later songs, the American recordings where his voice has aged, it's just got so much more to tell at that age, and the lyrics become more poignant because he's got that older voice,
right.
Lived in voice, so, and this is that kind of voice where it sort of tells a bit of a story. This is not just some regular Joe that's telling this story. It's somebody a little bit different that sounds different.
Yeah, I think overall really, really strong. I want to listen to it again. This is basically where I'm at with the songs. I want to listen to it again when I get home, and I actually have the all the pro gear set up so that way I could give it a proper listen. But I mean, from what I'm hearing right here, thoroughly enjoyed. And we are now at song 3, which means we surprise Mr. Luke H. Reynolds here with the
Purple Bowl
of Destiny.
Right, I won't look. I'll cover my eyes, and you just say when, Luke, and I'll pick out the category.
When?
Right. Oh, there's 2 then. Let's just get rid of that one. Oh, how about that? Okay, so this was the old category where we actually get to choose the category. So should we hand that over to Luke?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Luke, which category would you prefer, sir?
So what's the genres?
Oh, so we're just picking a genre. Is that
More or less, yeah, because there's all sorts, from disco to heavy metal to chill out to reggae to EDM, pop, singer-songwriter.
I'm a singer-songwriter, true to the acoustic guitar. So that would be what I would probably choose 9 times out of 10.
Now you're right, Tom. Luke would say singer-songwriter is generally, solo guitarist or pianist, and actual singer-songwriter, how we define it. Unfortunately, it's not the way a lot of people on Slaps define it. They will define it as well, we'll see what comes up. I'm always hopeful that we find a good singer-songwriter artist on there. Often we'll find a bit of hip-hop or rap or whatever the latest solo rapper is doing.
Usually tends to be the case that with the singer-songwriter, then hip-hop will kind of like get thrown in the mix here. So
yeah,
we'll see. I know we had one good one once. I can't remember which one it was. We've listened to so much good music.
Yeah, there's so many good. When I was going through choosing my favorites from the shows, and I was listening and listing down all those songs and thinking, there's so many good songs I've discovered this year that I wouldn't have discovered on radio.
It's just on Slaps, or do you guys select them from other places?
We've so far taken tracks from Slaps where I've scoured there for now. We're looking at other places as well, because there's plenty of other places where there's other music going on. So, and there's so much more out there, really.
Okay, well, we have one here. Let's see. This is labeled as alternative rock. This is Mario de Sá from Porto, Portugal. Let's see. Kind of like
that's interesting.
The highlighted genres here are alternative rock, folk, and rock, with numerous influences listed here, but main ones being like Kings of Leon, Radiohead, Coldplay, Placebo, The Foo Fighters, White Stripes, Interpol, Bruce Springsteen, Bob Dylan, Tom Petty. Those would be some of the major ones here. So this one is okay. So the act name is actually Music Machines.
Oh, that's interesting, because this is the one I'd spotted earlier that I've actually added to show 23. So I'll take it off the list.
Okay. Well, now you have editing to do, Carl.
Well, I think the bowl must have it's probably chosen well. If it's the song "Still Need You," the bowl's chosen very well.
Has it really?
Yeah, I thought this was a really well produced song earlier, and I mean, there's bits that I would maybe change, but I thought it was a strong song. About 4 or 5 people have saved it already.
Well, let's do this. It was posted not but 9 hours ago, so it is pretty much still hot off the presses. Once again, the name of the act is Music Machines. The name of the song is Still Need You. Here we go. Look at that. I actually got it that time. I got it before the next song started. Luke, what did you think, man?
I would think it would be hard not to come away with Coldplay vibes there. I thought we were getting Coldplay Yellow, kind of had that same kind of feel to the intro. So I know that they had to be very influenced by Coldplay, like the way they structured the song. They definitely have their own uniqueness to it, but you can tell there's some DNA there. I thought that Mario had a strong vocal control in and out of the different parts of the song. Production was good. There was a lot of nice uses of the guitar in different ways. I love the tempo changes. My one probably knock would be that 4 minutes and 44 seconds might be a bit long for commercial. That I could be completely wrong, but that was something I was kind of forewarned about, is to be careful with the length. And strong lyrics with a message. So maybe he just couldn't get it out in a short period of time. But that was kind of my take. Overall, a really great song. I probably wouldn't skip it on my playlist. I definitely listen to it again.
Carlos Fandango.
Certainly a big intro. Then it drops, obviously. So the ebb and flow is very good. It's a sort of big intro, drops down, and then builds up again. Although I think actually that's what a good little thing to do is actually have the big intro, but actually drop. I personally might be inclined to drop a bit more out in that after the initial intro. So really then you start rebuilding it back to the chorus and that sort of big sound again. So I think that would be one of the few things I would change. But it's a well-crafted song. Vocally, I think actually he's I take on board the Coldplay thing, because musically I think it does sound like that. I don't know if you remember Mentor's Anything, Live It Up, but that guy who was their vocalist has sort of same sort of timbre to his voice, but he's great on hitting the high notes. When he slides up as well into the solo part where he's saying the word side and slides up, that was fantastic. But yeah, I noticed the vocals, whether it's meant to be deliberately intimate, or whether because he's got a bit of overdrive on the voice, or his voice is naturally like this, a lot of the transients, the T's, the S's and the F's, are sort of quite close to the mic. They're not popping, but you can sort of really hear them. So I don't know if that's a distance thing or just because he's got overdrive on the voice. Guitar solo, that's one other thing I would be keen to. The guitar solo, the sound of the guitar was okay, although I'd be keen to sort of hear maybe a slightly different sound or something supporting it to give it a slightly different overall sound, a synthesizer or something matching the notes, maybe. But yeah, the logical, spiritual, physical line just reminded me of Joan Armatrading Drop the Pilot. Animal, mineral, physical, spiritual, and I don't know, just there's a lot to it. There's a lot of lyrics, but I thought, yeah, it probably would need to be cut down a bit. You'd probably cut off 45 seconds a minute, cut some of the fat off. That said, it would be difficult, and it might actually sort of ruin the overall effect of the song if you did that. So it's a tough one to call, because some songs do need to be that length. As long as they've got enough going on and they sound interesting enough, then they'll hold the listener.
That's to your point. I think this song would lose a lot of production value if we actually trimmed it down to the past the like, let's say the 3:30 mark, right? Because you're really getting rid of a minute and like a minute and a half worth of stuff to make it commercially viable or radio friendly, is pretty much what we're talking about in this case. But I mean, again, it's kind of like who listens to the radio nowadays. I mean, just going back to when I was growing up, I mean, everything was coming on MTV. It didn't matter if a song was 3 minutes, if it was 6 minutes, if it was 8 minutes long, whatever the case may be. I mean, The Wall, for crying out loud, is what? That's nearly 12 minutes in length for all three versions. That played on MTV. You know what I mean? So why can't this be just as popular as those? Totally picking up on the yellow vibe, Luke. That's one of the things that I was thinking about as well. It's definitely very Coldplay very high Coldplay influences going on here. I think, especially with the song, but this one you can feel is definitely kind of like deep and heartfelt. So I'm not going to comment much on production quality today, just because I cannot hear correctly. So I'm going to assume that you guys know what you're talking about, because especially you, Carl, since you got the headphones on and you're kind of like really like paying attention to everything here. So just overall, just listening to the lyrics and listening to the way that it sounded, I think it sounds like it's all right. I would say honestly, with just being a little bit more than 4.5 minutes long, maybe a music video would help.
100%.
Since it is that length, right? So just kind of like going back to what I was saying with the whole MTV thing and everything like that, maybe a music video would help. And if it was done, in some kind of style, like let's say like Chris Isaak's like Wicked Games for the lyrics that are actually on this song, then that's something that might work. Just once again, just our 2 cents here. So overall, I think nicely done. Honestly, I hear nothing wrong with it. Obviously, nobody else has either. So moving on to track number 4.
And we're over to
Wim
Schockaert. Yes, he's from Testelt in Belgium, and I think this is the first time we've gone to Belgium actually. But now, interestingly, this, I think Wim was part of the band Sengir, which I was going to feature a song, but it actually turned out to be one that was from the early 2000s, and the band had subsequently split. So I thought, well, it's no point sort of playing that and promoting it, as it's not an existing independent artist. However, for people to then discover Sengir and Wim's other music, then this would be a good in for them. Although Wim's solo stuff, I think it's a largely sort of what do we call it? Instrumental. So this is our sort of instrumental of the week, which is, I think it just says "Relax Under the Midnight Sky," and this is actually called "Under the Midnight Sky."
That is exactly what it says. So instrumental, "Relax Under the Midnight Sky." Remember, folks, hop into the video description below. This is where you'll find the links to these fantastic musicians here. And if you've liked anything that you've heard so far, then by all means, go check them out. Add them to your own personal Spotify playlist. Collect their links. As you know, we're doing our best here at the Underground Sound to bring you awesome indie music. So right now, Wim Schockaert with "Under the Midnight Sky." Check it out. right. Wim Schockaert with Under the Midnight Sky. Luke Reynolds, what'd you think, sir?
Yeah, I'm definitely not a pro at rating instrumental songs, but it was I would say I like the intro. It was very the words I wrote were calming, chilling, and I kind of felt like it had a darker feel. If you were to assign a feel to it, it was definitely a more emotional piece, a darker feel. I think the artist is very talented. That would be kind of my takeaway. Is, you know, I would be wow at the ability and the execution. There was a part, I don't know how to describe it, but it's a high kind of cascading notes that they added to the end of a few lines. That was a highlight for me, and I thought that the use of sustain was really nice. So overall, I think it's a good piece. I'm trying to think of where I would fit it, but it's a great definite instrumental piece. I'm sure maybe even a movie or something, you know, kind of maybe not prominently in a movie, but in the background to kind of set up a feeling.
Yeah, I agree. It's interesting because I've put TV/film, dark secret, big reveal. So it's like for me a TV series type of dark moment, you know, where you think, oh my god, it's the big shock, the big reveal type thing. You know, it was that person who did it. You know, that kind of thing. So I like that. It's very introspective, very reflective. It is dark. It's got the theme at the start develops gradually. You've got those descending bass notes which lend it a lot of drama as well, but it's done in a very much it's got the classical music really, and it's I would say of the romantic period, so very in the vein of something like Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata in its general feel and the vibe of the whole thing, particularly alluded to by the end chord is not dissimilar. But you could even do a version of this with a sort of modern electronic drums or a synthesized version of this, and it would still sound really good. So I think it's just a strong piece of music, and I think I agree with Luke. It's Wim is definitely a big talent, and from what I heard of the Sengear, the band music they did before, it's all sort of very dramatic sounding music and epic. So I think he's definitely got that it's sort of grandeur of a proper composer.
Yeah, no doubt. Those were the first two notes that I made here. Is I thought that we were going to hear something, I should say, that sounded like kind of like For Elise, and you know, then it really transitioned into a darker piece relatively quickly. It transitioned into a darker piece like Moonlight Sonata, which is I think Moonlight Sonata is absolutely my favorite piece of classical music that there is. It's just I just think as far as dark music goes, without any words added to it, that song happens to be very chilling. It'll send chills down your spine if you listen to it. So I got to give some credit here to Wim. I mean, it's really difficult to pull off classical music, especially this day and age. But with the amount of talent that there is, because the piano sounded like super crisp, right? There wasn't like any kind of like distortion or kind of like noise feedback from the microphone or anything. And I mean, obviously, we're talking about just the piano playing by itself. So I mean, you didn't hear the finger tapping, you didn't hear anything going on. You just heard the music, right? Which I think is absolutely fantastic. So, being compared all up and down to Beethoven on the show here, Wim, I think, has got some great possibilities, I should say, in his future for him as far as his music is concerned. And I will just say, nicely done. And obviously that's one that I'm going to want to listen on the appropriate sound equipment once again as well. But from what I hear here, then doesn't need too much improvement.
Quite
Sounded
agree.
Good. Loved it. And now we are. I hate it when you do this to me, Carl.
Okay, I'll do it then.
You
Aurangzaib
give me
Khan.
you give me a name that there's no way that I can pronounce this, but
I do it deliberately. Aurangzaib Khan is from Lahore in Pakistan, and this is ghomain. And this one's a bit different, really, because, well, I hope you really enjoy it as much as I did, because I wasn't sure if this show was going out this year or early next year, but it will. If it was going out early next year, now we know it's this year. But this probably would remain in my top 5 because there's something about this track that I absolutely adore.
really,
This is East and West fusion. It's just such a good vibe. Love it.
well, it's noted here as country and pop. So
Yeah, I don't think there's actually it's more folk and Indian folk, but it's also a bit of, there's Western elements, but it's all more folk than anything else.
more folky, you say? All
I
right,
would say so.
I'm gonna take your word for it right here. So ghomain, listed as country pop, reposted 19 days ago, 104 plays, 76 fires, 5 saves. This will be the 105th play from the Underground Sound. Enjoy ghomain.
आसमां में नहीं है नहीं है नहीं है कोई, ज़मीं पे क्यों न ढूंढे तेरे मेरे है जैसा कोई, फरिश्तों सा नहीं है नहीं है नहीं है कोई, ज़माने के है हम और तुम, इस ज़माने में ढूंढेंगे हम, गोल गोल घूमेंगे ज़माने में ढूंढेंगे हम, गोल गोल घूमेंगे। किसी सहरा की रेत में, कहीं सरसों के खेत में, किसी बरसों के भेद में ढूंढेंगे हम, ढूंढेंगे किसी जंगल में, पहाड़ों में, कहीं अनदेखी राहों में, कहीं दूर के गांवों में ढूंढेंगे हम, गोल 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 घूमेंगे हम, गोल 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 घूमेंगे हम, गोल 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 घूमेंगे। साडा उड़ेगा ठिकाना साडा उड़ेगा ठिकाना नी मायसी नहीं बसना, ढूंढेंगे ढूंढेंगे हम, ढूंढेंगे इस जमाने के हैं हम और तुम, इस जमाने के हैं हम और तुम, इस जमाने में खुद सा कोई ढूंढेंगे हम, गोल 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 घूमेंगे हम, गोल 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 घूमेंगे हम, गोल 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 घूमेंगे।
All right, Mr. Luke Reynolds. I'm pretty sure you're like me. You didn't understand a word of it. What'd you think?
Yeah, I know. I wish I could comment on the lyrics in terms of what their content. Immediately, I got a Bob Dylan on the harmonica kind of feel right out of the gate. So that was one. Very interesting fusion of sounds. Nothing really comparable. I sat and tried to think of something that would be comparable. So it's a very unique sound. Clearly a happier vibe. Nice. There was a part where they used, it was, I think, an acoustic guitar where they had a little bit of kind of a slide action where they were sliding up and down the neck. And it had kind of, it seemed like what would be a traditional feel with modern take. I think mastering, where everything's sitting in the mix, probably could get a little bit better, but I can't obviously be too picky when we're not listening through very professional speakers. But I just got that the vocals were really prominent, like in an 80-20 kind of mix for me. So that could just be my ear. I mean, when I was doing music, everybody gave a different take on the mix, so it's just a personal preference. But ultimately, yeah, I got immediately hit right away with a harmonica, Bob Dylan kind of vibe. So it was clearly it's a happy song.
Very much so. Isn't it? It's, it's the we mentioned recently about the harmonica. There was a harmonica solo on one of the recent songs we reviewed, and it's sort of an underused instrument, but not in this one. It's nicely used. Lots of little stabs on the harmonica, just interjecting here and there. The electric guitar is quite unusual for the Indian subcontinent to use that in that way. So it really is a complete fusion of East meets West, and but as I say, sort of very folky sort of sound to everything. Very jolly. Love the harmonies. Love his vocal. The melodies in it are really nice, and that bit where they do the sort of breakdown with the sort of Indian. Oh, so what's going on here? With the Indian sort of feel with all I can describe it as is it's the sort of thing you hear when the Beatles and George Harrison got into doing into the Indian music. That breakdown bit was just absolutely phenomenal, and using the dilruba and the tabla of those instruments that make those wonderful doom doom sounds, all those unusual sort of sounds. But it's just the fusion of all the styles and sounds, and then you've got this really catchy go 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 main chorus, and I thought, well, I don't understand the lyrics, but it's sort of easy to latch onto, even though it's in a completely different language. And I don't know what he's saying. I've tried to look up the translation of Gol Gol Ghomain, but doesn't come up with anything. Gol Gol is a meeting place, apparently, so it's something to do with that. I think meet you on the road or something, probably.
Okay,
I'm guessing.
Go mine. Okay, that's the thing is you don't even really know how to say the name of the song. But no, it's fine because the thing that was going through my mind, like kind of like listening to the song, was "Come on, get happy." You know what I mean? It's just kind of like one of those things where it's catchy and it's good. I got to agree with Luke here. Even listening to it on the computer speakers, but I have noticed this with a lot of like Bollywood type music and everything like that. Also is that a lot of the vocals tend to be more forward and more presented than anything else. But I would say that for the speaker quality that I do have today, then definitely there's some work needed in the mixing and mastering, kind of like getting everything on an even tone, I would think, for myself. But once again, if I think back to the Bollywood kind of stuff that I've heard, it sounds kind of like this as well. So it may be an intentional thing. So I really don't know. That's the only thing that really kind of like irked me about it. Other than that, it really kind of sounds like a kind of like happy-go-lucky song, and it's definitely the harmonica once again reminded me of Blues Traveler, and we did have that song like 2 or 3 no, it was like 2 episodes ago. It was on episode 19, I think is what it was, where we did.
I think so.
Because I jumped in there and I said, "Hey, Carl, we talk about guitar solos. How about a harmonica solo?" And it is an underused instrument. It's a fun instrument to throw into certain music, and this definitely fits, just because you're taking kind of like a traditional-ish type of song, and you're mixing different elemental music in there, and I think it sounds all right like that. So for not understanding what the words are saying, then I quite enjoyed this. So I
think the vocals being prominent in the mix is part and parcel of the style of music. As you say, the Bollywood, particularly the older style Bollywood stuff,
Right.
like the Asha Bhosle or the Kishore Kumar, any of those artists, it's right at the forefront because it's all about the vocal.
Yeah.
The music's almost secondary, but it's prominent as well. But the vocal takes center stage all the time.
That's why I kind of mentioned it, because I didn't want to sound very critiquey about it, because I do know that a lot of the Middle Eastern Asian kind of like music does have that happening, where the vocals are brought forward, and it's meant to be that way. So if it's meant to be that way, then I think that everything else sounds pretty all right with the mixing going. Kind of like Lucas said, it's kind of like an 80-20 kind of thing. So once again, enjoyed it just because of the feel of it. Is obviously meant to be happy go lucky kind of thing going on, and so good job. I enjoyed it. So the underground sound. Oh, I gotta do the pen swipe. Cool. We will be back very shortly. Please, everybody, visit the video description below. Find the links to these artists if you like what you have heard so far. Hop onto our website, usundergroundsound.com. Find our Spotify playlist. Make them your own, as it were. We're going to take a very quick break, but once again, for you, it will be absolutely seamless. If you follow the pin, it'll help you out. Watch this. There we go. The pin swipe returns. Well, welcome back to the second half of the Underground Sound, folks. With me, as always, is Carlos Fandango. Together, we are the Underground Sound. We are putting the us back into music.
So please do like, subscribe, and share, and we'll find the music that you love to hear.
Absolutely. And joining us today, our very special guest co-host is Luke H. Reynolds. Luke, how you feeling about the first half of the show so far?
It was good. Very interesting. Good mix of music, and it's my first foray into rating music this way. So,
well, all right. Hopefully the second half does live up to the first half, as usually I expect it to. Sometimes we've been disappointed by Carl or the Purple Bowl. Sometimes it's gotten even just that much better on episode 19. I gotta say, the two songs from episode 19 that definitely stick out in my mind, Carl, are "Back to the Future" and "All Your Words." Those are two that I was kind of like laying in bed the other night, and I had the I had the AirPods in, and I was listening to the songs, just kind of like drifting off to La La Land, and I totally forgot to take the headphones out of my ears and everything, or the earphones, whatever the AirPods. I forgot to take them out of my ears, and I was like listening to the songs kind of like all night long on repeat. And I do have a little bit more love for Back to the Future than I had when I heard it the first time. It's definitely, I think it grows on you. It's one of those songs that really grows on you, I think so.
Which one was Back to the Future? Was that?
That was Rem Rem.
Oh yes, that was
the Purple Bowl of Destiny choice.
Okay.
And then we went on to Eve with All Your Words, I should say.
Yeah.
So both nice synth pop kind of songs back to back. Hopefully, do you have anything synth poppy lined up today, or are we going to rely on the bowl?
Well, I mean, you're probably relying on the bowl, but track 10 is poppy, and there are synthesizers in it, but it's you could argue it's synth pop. It's not true synth pop, but it's close-ish, not far off.
All right. Well,
I don't know if you'll be let down by that, but I'm sure we will have some soon anyway.
We'll see as we go on. I was about to call this group by the wrong name because Carl misspelled the Timbers, but it is actually the Timers. So Rusty Old Timers.
That might be auto.
What do you got to tell us about the Rusty Old Timers here, Carl?
Right, they're from Tunnel Hill in Georgia, USA. And it says Rot, R-O-T, is made up of Glenn Elrod, aka the Shirtless Dad, and R.B. Mullins from North Georgia. So it's a two-piece band, Rusty Old Timers. Looks like there's quite a lot of influences in there that sort of stem back to mainly country. So you got Merle Haggard, good. Lynyrd Skynyrd as well, Dolly Parton, Willie Nelson, Waylon Jennings, Hank Williams Jr., Tom T. Hall, interesting, and Johnny Paycheck, Paul Simon, Conway Twitty as well. So lots of generally country influences, and this, I believe, was a country sort of song. I think it's in the country genre, isn't it?
Well, yeah, this is what.
Oh,
it says.
rock. Is this rock?
No, it says country.
Oh, I'm looking at the wrong one, aren't I? Oh, I see what they've done. They've uploaded it a few times. They've put country on one, original music on another, rock on another one. So that's another way of doing it.
So, some of like what the hip hop fellas do, huh? With
Yes, indeed, yes.
instrumental and okay, I get it. Without further ado, here we go, folks. Rusty Old Timers says it gets us back.
Truck had left me stranded in the road. Started waving traffic by, thinking God that I ain't high, and I'm need to call to have that sucker towed. Well, I caught a brown in the dash, it's just a little bit of stash, and it was reeking like a skunk that just been here. The whole time I keep hoping the popo don't come poking. Then the tow truck came and thank God that was it. And I'm thankful that the big guy's watching over me, even when we don't see eye to eye. He saved me many times before, and I'm sure there'll be some more. Love that gets us by. Oh, that's the kind of love that gets us by. Well, I got my own truck home and I was shaking to the bone, 'cause it's messed up even worse than I'd hoped. Started seeing dollar signs and I almost lost my mind, 'cause I wasted all my money on smoke. My son and his best friend came up to me. They saw my situation and they came to my salvation. Now I'm back out on the road riding free. And I'm thankful that my family's watching over me, even when we don't see eye to eye. They saved me many times before, and I'm sure there'll be some more. That's the kind of love that gets us by. Oh yeah, that's the kind of love that gets us by. Oh, they saved me many times before, and I'm sure there'll be some more. 'Cause that's the kind of love. That's the kind of love, that's the kind of love that gets us by.
Someone had made a meme sometime that I can't remember the exact wording, but it was like, with self-driving vehicles, it's only a matter of time before a country singer writes a song about his truck leaving him. I heard truck mentioned there a few times. Luke, what'd you think of the song, buddy?
Immediate feel, kind of the intro had a 70s funk kind of, right away, and then it kind of switched into a classic rock feel. I kind of just denoted, I kind of, again, try to connect to the DNA. It kind of had an Elvis-ish vocals to it, at least in the beginning it did. I wrote Primus bass line, like that slappy bass that it had in there, which was really funky. With the bass line was very prominent. I'd say, I mean, the bass line was strong, and maybe tune the vocals up maybe 5%, just make them stand out a little bit there. They were kind of getting buried a little bit in that bass line. And there was a 3-chord break that I really liked. And then I love the solo. And I thought it was just overall, it was a good song. It had just a great mix of sounds, time, genre. It's hard to pin one down and say that's just a pure country song, because it's classic rock. It's kind of that bass line kind of maybe could even change that a little bit. So overall, good job.
Yeah, it certainly is a hybrid, isn't it? It's sort of country rock, folk, funk, and certainly with the wah-wah guitar and the riff. So it's very funky sort of song, late 60s if anything, but more early 70s, with rock organ as well. I think this is the sort of sound you'd get if you crossed Vehicles, The Ides of March, with Deep Purple's Hush and Wild Cherries play that funky music. It's kind of a fusion of all these things. It's lively, it's got a solid vocal, and I think it's a good driving song. We've had a few of those lately, so this would be another one you could drive out in the sunshine to on a long car journey.
Yeah, I'd say so. Road trip or live festival for sure. Honestly, when the opening, the bam chicka pound, I thought we were about to see an adult film start, but
Oh, you haven't seen the video yet, so who knows?
Right? It gave off that kind of. I agree with Luke saying that raise the vocals a bit, bring the vocals forward. I definitely think that could be beneficial, especially for the poppiness that the song actually has, because it's very catchy, it's very twangy, it kind of like stays in your head. And as most road trip songs, have the tendency to do, right? They'll stick with you. So I mean, overall, once again, listening to it on the computer speakers, I think that the production quality was good. Aside from, once again, bringing the vocals a little bit forward, maybe tweaking the automation a little bit. So just generally had a really nice vibe to it. It didn't really, we were talking about the one that was kind of like, it said that it was blues and rock, and then we kind of like figured that it was going to be, cruise was, I think, what we came up with to actually like bring it together, because it was blues, it was rock, and it was country, and this one kind of like seems like it would fit in that category as well, because it shouldn't just be labeled as one. It should definitely have a little bit of a few motifs going for it. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I think a very fun song, and looking forward to hearing this again on the on the regular production equipment, as it were. So moving on now, we are on song number 7, and this one again, Carl. Thank you. So I'll let you introduce this one.
Yes, RAAJSA. So it's RAAJSA, RAAJSA, with Parichaya. It says, this is the first song of my first album, Parichaya. I made it simple as well as acoustic. Fairly short song. This one has had just the one track uploaded, 6 followers and 30 plays. We don't know where RAAJSA is from. It's hard to tell, actually. So there's no indication of where. 12 influences include Queen, Pearl Jam, Linkin Park, Coldplay, Red Hot Chili Peppers, and Alice in Chains. I don't think you're going to hear any of it on this particular track, because it's more of an acoustic track. Who knows if you're going to like it? I'm not sure. I found it quite, I don't know, there's something about this that was quite attractive.
I wonder if this is just Raja.
Could be. That would normally be RAJA if it's Raja.
Is it?
Normally.
I don't know. I guess you're more fluent in Indian than I am, which I can only assume Raja. But with the 2 A's, I really don't know either, but just looking at the name Parichaya, is that how you would?
That's how I'd say it, but I might be completely wrong.
I probably am completely wrong too. I know I have a tendency to butcher shit like that anyway. So we go with RAAJSA.
Maybe that's what it means.
Probably.
Butcher
What,
shit.
butcher shit? Maybe it does. It's like I made this specifically for the underground sound to butcher this. Here we go. So first song of his first album, made it simple as well as acoustic. Kind of like marked as hip hop, rock, alternative, blues, electronic, folk, and metal. A very weird combination of stuff going on here. But 30 plays, 12 fires, 2 saves. About to be the 31st play here from the underground sound. Enjoy this. This is Parichaya.
कसरीमा बनु तिमी सुन्ने कोसिस गर्न मेरो आवाज सुनेर के तिमीलाई लाग्दैन तिम्रै लागि गाउँदैछु म भन्न त जरुरी छैन त्यसैले म यो गीत गाउँदैछु सुनाउँदैछु म को हुँ भनेर बुझाउन सक्दिन तिमी केवल प्रयास गरिदेऊ न म भन्दैछु केही आँटेर आज तिमी सुन्ने कोसिस गर न भन्न त जरुरी छैन त्यसैले म यो गीत गाउँदैछु सुनाउँदैछु जरुरी छैन त्यसैले म यो गीत गाउँदैछु सुनाउँदैछु
Our special guest host today, Luke H. Reynolds. What'd you think, sir?
Immediately, again, Coldplay, maybe I'm just stuck in my head with Coldplay, but it immediately kind of had a little bit of a tinge of Coldplay vibes. Very simple beginning. I thought he had very good vocals. I think the vocal quality is very good. Peaceful feeling, kind of very simplistic in its structure. You know, I think it could be in a movie. I kind of envision a guy walking away from the girl of his dreams and starting to regret it. That's kind of the vibe I got. And then it had kind of a really unexpected funky breakdown section in it with the bending strings. And yeah, then a very interesting addition of the piano as well. So a good use of the piano that was kind of caught you off guard and made you want to listen. But overall, very good. Like I said, vocals were very strong and, you know, perfect for this. Probably music sync, very good fit for a movie.
Carlos Fandango.
Not so bad call at all, actually. Yeah, that would be well used in a movie. Yeah, very nice voice and nice supporting harmonies as well. Very close, tight harmonies in there. But yeah, very dreamy, drifty, simple. As you say, simple. I've got written down there. It is sort of simplistic, but it's got a dreamy quality, dreamlike quality about it, and that nice ding 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 sort of comes in fairly near the start, and it just keeps drifting back in, and that's the sort of what the song's built around. But then, as you say, that surprise break with the sort of Western tinged funkiness about it was out of the blue. Then the piano comes in just that once, introduced and then gone. I mean, I'm quite a fan of having different elements in there that appear sometimes only once, although I like them introduced so they come in so they're not too much of a surprise. But that really works well because it was just a bit strange, a bit different. And the only artist I could compare it to really in terms of the ethereal quality of it is there was the artist I mentioned recently on a show was Jeffrey Gurmil Yunupingu, the Australian Aboriginal artist who has sadly passed, but had a just otherworldly quality about the music and the vocal, because that was just acoustic and a vocal predominantly, and it was just otherworldly, brilliant music. So I would recommend that to anybody as well. So, but that's only one track uploaded. I'd be keen to see if RAAJSA does actually do more like this, really, or to this sort of standard. But I liked it, really liked it.
I want to go full Simon Cowell here because once again, I don't have the setup going on to go full Simon Cowell here. It's just, I think it could have been done better, is what it sounds to me like. A, I didn't really understand anything. B, it's just I get it. You don't need to understand the lyrics to appreciate the music. The music sounded really, really kind of simple. It really sounded like only about 4 or 5 chords, kind of like on repeat. The break, as you guys were talking about, where where there's this little element of surprise, I don't think was enough to kind of like save the song. I think that the production quality is pretty good. Once again, listening to what I'm listening to here on the computer speakers, but I think I'll wait with the harsher comments until I hear something else from Raja, if there will be anything else. For now, I'm just gonna say that meh is the way that I'm pretty much feeling about this one. So
Simon, you're not going to put RAAJSA through to the next round?
No, I don't think so. I think we'll sorry, no pass here, no lifeline. Don't, do not pass go, do not collect $200, right? So we'll kind of like I think we'll just have to leave it at that. Here we are, part 2 of Purple Bowl of Destiny.
Here we are. Those sacred bowl. Right, I'm Shiva. Okay, Luke, you say oops. It's getting a bit keen, that one. Pick me.
I win.
Right. Oh, nothing came out. Okay, I'll try again.
Win.
Something did. Oh, sorry. I cocked that one up completely there. Right. Okay. Instrumental.
All right.
Instrumental. It's been a while since we had that, I think.
It's been at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's been at least 6 searches.
How did you find what that's the searches on Slaps, is it, or something? It shows you what you've been searching for.
Yeah, I guess like search history, more or less.
Oh, I thought you were keeping some sort of log or something. All the Purple Bowl of Destiny log.
Oh no, it's when I just hit the search thing, it started bringing that up. So okay, so we have instrumental with 44 members, or we have instrumentals with 7.4 thousand members.
That'll be the one.
That will be the one. Okay. So we'll hit that one here.
Takes a while usually.
Usually does.
But this is the part of the show, Luke, that Tom tends to get a bit sad with because it means it's only 2 more songs to go after this.
We're almost there. I mean, this is song 8, song 9, song 10. Show's done. This song seems, it's got to be because I don't have the headphones or the microphones. So I'm not like really looking out for anything, and I'm not like I'm hearing other things going on as well. You know, like
Yep.
I hear like the neighboring room, like they got the water running. They're probably taking a shower. It sounds like, you know, it's kind of like
Probably got
very.
da, 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 da.
Don't
It's a
even.
small world in the
Don't
background.
even. Don't even.
Just
Leave that
planted
word.
that there for all our viewers, just to have that in their heads. You see, another sleepless night. Sorry.
So this is well, nope. Hold on. Let's hear the. Forgot to hit on the new. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
Instrumentals and ambient. Here we go. It says Infectious Journeyz, spelled with a Z, music. Instrumental musical escape from Infectious Journeyz, Blazing Bill Tully 2022. The song is called Hold On Tight. Let's see if we get some more information here on Infectious Journeyz. Says from Tucson, Arizona, USA. Multi-instrumentalist, bass guitar is my main instrument. I am an active bass player in one of Tucson, Arizona's premier Southern and classic rock cover bands. I also work with a couple of other local bands, original cover bands here in Arizona as well. I also play bass for Rockin' Rob Wright, an original hard rock project that is based in Maine, spelled wrong. I also play some guitar, drums, keys, synth, pianos, etc., and sing a little. Bass player, music creation, music arrangement, and beat maker, music producer. Infectious Journeyz is my musical baby, just another outlet of music for me. Its purpose is to help one escape the stress of their day through music, all with incorrect punctuation. So I apologize if it sounded like I was losing my mind reading that. It just happened to be spelled that way, everything. Looks like this might be interesting, though.
Okay. How long's the track?
No, I'm expecting you to know something about it. It's like,
No, I can't say.
because usually you produce the whole list. So I'm like, looks like this is going to be interesting, thinking that you're going to have a comeback for it when it's the Purple Destiny. So
Does it?
no,
I wouldn't know.
It's posted yesterday. It's 8 plays, 0 fires, 0 saves so far. Going to be the 9th play here on the Underground Sound. Let's check this out. Infectious Journeyz with Hold On Tight. have the earmuffs on, Mr. Fandango, so I'm going to ask you first. Was that hissing in the background, or was
It
that a
did sound like
vacuum
it was
stand?
hissing, actually. Now you come to mention it, I had noticed it was quieter than the other tracks. It did sound like a bit of a hiss on there.
Okay. Mr. Luke Reynolds, take it away, sir.
I gotta go first.
Well, you don't have to.
It's your chance to shine
I
as
can take
Simon
away some
Cowell.
of the pain for all of you.
First one there. So definitely got a Dave Matthews kind of guitar riff feel to it. Melodic. There were definitely a lot of layers there. It's nice instrumental, strong bass. Execution of each piece was okay. And then kind of what I didn't like about it was nothing really stood out about it to me. It was very repetitive. It was just very repetitive. It could have been a lot shorter. The ending kind of was abrupt. It could have been faded, and there was probably a couple more measures in there than there should have been. Nothing wrong with the pieces and puzzle parts. It's just the way it goes together. I'd like to see it like go in a different direction, maybe in the middle of the song, and then maybe come back to that piece. But it seemed to be kind of that same bit droning over and over again to some degree. And again, whoever plays the guitar plays it well. The bass played well. All the pieces were good. It was just putting them together didn't really stand out crazy. Now, I always think of what the application of an instrumental would be. I don't really know. Maybe for that one, maybe like an elevator kind of thing. Not in a bad way. I'm saying it's just it's repetitive and enough that it could work to be played over and again.
Carlos Fandango, what say you, sir?
So on the plus side, the bass riffs and licks were fantastic. Really noticeably good. And the electric acoustic guitar, as Luke says, is well played. I mean, the sound of the acoustic guitar was very Lindsey Buckingham. The style of it was very Mike Oldfield in some respects, with the chord sequence that was being put in there. I would say it's crying out for a vocal, probably a female vocal, I would say, on this one. The synths come in quite late in the day. I'd like them to come in earlier. If you're going to have a song that doesn't develop and just loops around and around and around, make it 2 minutes maximum. Don't make it much longer than that. Or develop the song, which is the better option of the two. With regards to when you're playing bar chords, the guitar squeaks are going to be more prominent. Therefore, you've got to deal with the guitar squeaks as well and automate those out or down a little bit, so that they're less prominent and they're not just all the way through the song. Because the chord sequence was sliding, it meant there were a lot of guitar squeaks all the way through the song. So for me, the riff was an intro and outro, and that's it. It should have then developed once you've gone through that initial phase of having that riff, rather than just going all the way through. So for me, you could do something with it. It drifted along, didn't develop. But it could be better. It could be. This is, I think, slightly frustrating because it could be a lot better, and it's got potential. All you got to do is just think how you can break out. The problem is with some of these songs that are actually on a chord loop sequence, sometimes it's actually quite hard to break out for them if they're a really strong chord loop. So, but you really must, even if it's stopping the song after a little intro, then you can go into something different from there. Even if you're using the same initial chord, you can break out into other directions from there. But it did need a lot more doing to it.
No. First thing that I wrote is a lot of work needed here. Second thing is I have to assume that the bass guitar is this person's kind of like primary instrument, because the bass really hovered well above any of the instruments that were there. With that said, I gotta say, like when the guitar there, I thought we were about to listen to something like Fade to Black from Metallica. I mean, it has the makings of a pretty nice ballad, I think, but it's just not there. And so I think that this is like one of these things. They should put a posting up on Craigslist, which is like music engineer needed. You know what I mean? Because I think that each individual piece is good in itself. We just need somebody to sit there and mix and master this whole thing correctly. To your point with the guitar slides, Carl, is that occasionally I like to hear those, right? But not all the time. Like you said, they're good in a song. It really makes it seem like the musician's putting in a lot of effort. But when you're kind of like overdoing it, then that's just exactly what it is. It's overdone. So just that's my critique. Is the bass is way too high, because I think this is the primary instrument. This is what the person wants to hear. They're not thinking about the I think mix in general. It's just the bass is there. The drums definitely need to be broken down piece by piece. I don't think that they have enough drum microphones there to encapsulate the drums themselves, because the beat sounded pretty good as is and by itself. But once again, putting it into a mix where you have this hissing in the background also just didn't really work for me. I think it could be done so much better, because once again, just the compliment here would be that it did sound like we were going to listen to something that was like Fade to Black from Metallica, and unfortunately we did not. But
I've got to say, to me, this sounds like it's somebody who needs to collaborate with someone or be in a band with somebody together. So then you get more opinions, ideas, and you work and collaborate with somebody in order to manufacture something that develops into a proper song, basically.
Two heads are better than one, as they say. So hey, today we have three heads, and one of those is Luke H. Reynolds. And I see that we have a song. How did this happen? How did this one get into this? Broken As It Is by Luke H. Reynolds. Carlos, what can you tell me about Luke's song?
Well, Luke is from, well, I tell you what, why doesn't Luke introduce? Because Luke wrote the song, so I think actually Luke could tell us.
Let's hear it, Luke.
Just a little intro to the song. Pray see the song for us.
Yeah, so the first song that you guys had was the first song I ever wrote, and I really had no intention of writing music. Tom, Jan, and I talked about this in great detail, and I really didn't plan this out. This wasn't part of what I was intending to do, but the people wanted this, so I'm kind of doing that. But the second song was very interesting. I was invited by my producer, Perfect Song, to do my first writing session with him, and I had never been to a writing session. Thought it was interesting, thought I'd go through the process to see, and we sat down to write, and he asked me if I'd had any lyrics in my back pocket, and I had this funny lyric that I had wrote down it was very real. I'd been with my family visiting a historical site, and we were waiting in line to go to a thing, and it was very hot that day. I was wearing flops, and I take my foot out of my flip flop and put it on the ground. I don't know why I do this. It's the ground, this feels cool, but I kind of thought, well, I take my shoes off to feel the ground beneath my feet, and I kind of jotted it down and sent it to a moderator of my live stream and said, kind of, ha, this sounds like a country, tongue-in-cheek country thing. Maybe one day we'll develop it. And I started out with the producer throwing that line out there, and he said, do you have any guitar parts? And I kind of hammered out a very simple piece on the acoustic guitar, and he threw me in the vocal booth, and we opened with that line. And then I started singing about, life, and because I meet a lot of people on TikTok who are very damaged people. They're searching for something like peace through connecting with other people, and that is a very common thread. That's one of the things that really is driving an app on TikTok. There are a ton of lonely people out there, and they feel broken, and sometimes it's so overwhelming for anybody. But ultimately, I find myself coaching people that, hey, you're not beyond repair, and that was kind of what became the theme of the song. And when I left the studio, I thought total failure. Did not come away with the song, total bust. But it was cool to go through the process, and I really enjoyed it. Now I know what to do the next time. 3 days later, the producer sent me the first cut of Broken As It Is, and I was blown away. He had added some kind of digital drums and a digital kind of feel to it. And we had kind of talked a little bit about Morgan Wallen and the success that he's having crossing over genres, because his music doesn't sound as country as a lot of other country artists. So he really appeals. And they're kind of doing this fusion of like country with a backbeat kind of thing. So I was really blown away, and we just agreed to revisit it, redo the vocals, touch it up. And then we got to get some pretty heavy hitters to play actual drums and percussion. So the drummer from the band Train did the percussion on the song, which is pretty cool. A guy named Matt Mussey. And then a guy named Curtis Keebler, he did the bass for me. He actually plays for Grace Potter, which is another popular artist. So we had some pretty good people on the track, and I had very extreme high hopes for this, because the other song's message was it's hard to write a song, and the inspiration is a perfect song. And not a lot of people can connect with that, because not a lot of people have written a song. And so this actually had a message I thought people could connect with. And so that's kind of the net of Broken As It Is it's got a completely different feel from the first song. It's got acoustic roots, but it is kind of fitting into the commercial genre of adding a backbeat to it that you're going to hear in the song. It's co-written with a guy named Holt Williams, who was my producer for that, and he's also very connected, and that's how I've gotten some of these session artists to join, because I'm literally it's just me. I don't have a band that I play with. But we're not quite at 1,000 streams. A Perfect Song's almost at 10,000 streams total.
Wow, very good.
So, but it did do well on Slaps compared to Perfect Song. Broken As It Is did good. So I just need to get the song out there. And there is a press release for it that I haven't gotten out yet. But ultimately, it's got a message. I think that is the key to a good song, is people have to connect with it. Especially if you're using social media to promote a song, people are going to latch on to a message. And so that would be my recommendation for anybody out there. If you plan to use social media, Instagram, TikTok, as a means to promote your song, I think a strong message that I've seen people latch on to a message of recovery, or a message of forgiveness or love or whatever, but that's what's really going to elevate your song, and it's going to get used in videos and used as a theme. So,
all right, there you have it from the horse's mouth, as it were. Broken As It Is by Luke H. Reynolds. Let's check this out.
Take my shoes off to feel the ground beneath my feet. It takes a lot out of me. And times that I've frozen, but it's times like these. Gotta stop what you're doing, stop and feel the breeze. You can never go back when you're always moving on. You gotta stop and smell for roses before they're all gone. As broken as it is, whatever you may find, you gotta keep on moving on with this life. Open your ears and open your eyes. You gotta keep on moving on with this life. I take my hat off, feel the sun upon my face. It takes a lot of grace. And times not frozen, but it's times like these. Gotta stop what you're doing, stop and feel the breeze. You can never go back when you're always moving on. You gotta stop and smell for roses before they're all gone. As broken as it is, whatever you may find, you gotta keep on moving on with this life. Open your ears and open your eyes. You gotta keep on moving on with this life. You can never go back when you're always moving on. You gotta stop and smell for roses before they're all gone. As broken as it is, whatever you may find, you gotta keep on moving on with this life. Open your ears and open your eyes. You gotta keep on moving on with this life.
Luke H. Reynolds with Broken As It Is. Carlos Fandango, what did you think, sir?
Yeah, you can hear it's a proper professional production, can't you? You really can hear it. Interestingly, the comparison artists, I would say there's two actually that sort of come up here. One is because of the sort of personal message song and the country tinge vibe to it. Is my brother-in-law or ex-brother-in-law used to listen to a lot of Luke Combs, and some of his songs are really good, high standard, and just but nice, sort of very personal takeaway message kind of thing. So the other one was, we've mentioned them a couple of times, or at least Luke's mentioned them, is Coldplay, vocally and with the music, but vocally, yeah, very Chris Martin in that sort of soft vocal style, and particularly in that sort of when I think the sort of Brian Eno, when Eno was producing them for a short while, but because you've got, actually it's a sort of bit of a Daniel Lanois sort of production in a way, because you've got the sort of guitar vibes that you've got there, dreamy sort of guitar sounds. So that's good. The snare, that's a really interesting snare sound. That's a bit different because it's a heavily sort of dampened sound, thwacking snare drum that's dampened but with strong reverb on it. So it's got a real distinctive sort of sound to it. You don't really hear a sort of, I don't even know if it's a snare sound, but it's like a, this is, you know, banging sound. It's a really good sound. I like at the end of the chorus, there's two things at the end of the chorus I really like. Is one is the minor, I mean, I'm all for major to minor chords. That minor chord at the end of the chorus just gives that little bit of sadness, reflection and drama. But you've also got what sounds like a finger symbol or something in there. Right, it just goes ching at the end of the solo and at the end of the right at the end of the song as well. And it's just a nice little touch. Those kind of details make a song just go up a few levels with every little detail that's added, and a proper guitar solo. Yay, because we do like a good guitar solo on here, and we don't get enough of those, and it's nice. So overall, you know, just Luke did really good job there, and the producers did a good job. And it fascinates me how, I mean, it's the same with me. You get one line that either triggers the whole song and sets the direction for the song and the tone of the song, and everything's built around that line for me very often lyrically.
Yes, it's called a hook, Carl.
It's a hook. Well, it can be, but it's just there's it's not necessarily the hook of the song, but it's a hook into the song. But I find as a when I'm writing the songs, it just takes one particular line, to stimulate everything.
Absolutely, I agree with you 100% here. The 80s type crash snare hybrid is kind of like what I marked it down as, because it really did have that whack kind of like going on. It was very prominent. It was very that's one of the sounds that definitely makes the song kind of like hooky, right? Is just listening to that on its own, because it fades away and it obviously gives way to two nice melodies. So, you know, just to reiterate on a few of your points here, is that the guitar solo is absolutely fantastic. The only thing that I did kind of disagree with was the delivery, because I mean I know Luke, and here's the thing is I'm gonna stray away from Coldplay, because I know Coldplay's been kind of like a bit of a theme of the show here. I'm gonna say that this is more like John Mayer with kind of like a Dave Matthews delivery. That's where I was really feeling the vocals, especially John Mayer's. Not so much Dave Matthews. It's a Dave Matthews kind of delivery with like John Mayer's kind of like voice kind of like emulated. So that's where I'd be going with it. But I got to say, is this good writing? We don't need to talk about production much, because production is obviously top notch. You definitely worked with a proper professional putting the song together, and then you did have most 100% a percussionist, 100% well known, I should say, for that matter. So you had somebody, you had all types of people that knew what they were doing on this song, and I think that that it shows, and it came out great. Not just because of the production quality, but because of the emphasis that there are behind the lyrics. And this is one thing that Carl and I have mentioned 100 times over, is if you do music from the heart, the payout will come. If you're just in it for the money, then, you know, I mean, yeah, sometimes you'll make a one-hit wonder or whatever the case may be. But if you really do it from the heart, then it truly shows, and it just makes people appreciate it just that much more. So, Luke H. Reynolds, this is your song. I'll let you put the final 2 cents in, as it were, here on this.
Yeah, it's like I said, I'm too busy to fool around and not do it right and waste time and money. So I try to make sure that I put the right people around the song. But in this case, it was very interesting, because the final product was, it was really entrusting the producers feel. Like, you go to a producer. When I went with Perfect Song, I really went and said, this is how it was written, but I really trust you in every way to take this in the direction you think it's got to go. And same in this case, like all that snare and all that finger snapping and stuff, he added all of that. Like, it didn't sound like that when we did it in the studio. And I was shocked and shockingly surprised in a good way. And that people really latched on to the feel. I think he was kind of shooting for what's been hitting with people, what's vibing in terms of the sound, but the message stayed intact. And I played it live numerous times, and that's kind of one of the keys to the music I do, is that I want to make sure it maintains that it is intact, and that I could play a good version of it with just me and the guitar. So, like I said, I have high hopes. You never know how these things pop up. I've got crazy stories of friends writing songs 6 years ago and then popping up on the radio. But it was accepted on several playlists, a lot of similar ones that accepted the Perfect Song. So I'm not quite sure where the disconnect is on at least the plays. It could be that the first song was like kind of people wondering what I was doing. But you got to understand, people in my life had no clue that I did this. So, you know, there's a lot of curiosity around it, but ultimately, you know, I'm proud of it. And if my producer would be here, he would just tell me to keep writing more and more music, put out as much as you can.
Absolutely.
We spoke about it a little bit, because I think I see a lot of artists put out a ton of music all the time, every other day. And I feel like that's, from a human connection, it's very hard to get people to get hype about a song if you're putting it out every single day. And I know some tremendous artists that have music out there that have, you know, 100 plays on their song. It just isn't right. They should have thousands and thousands of plays. But I think they fought against the wall. So ultimately, this symbolizes who I am, like what time I have to devote to this. I love playing music and writing. So I'm very proud of this. And regardless of what comes out there, it's something I put out in the world. And we are going to do a music video for it. We're going to do it here and not go as big as LA like last time, and do it here. And maybe that'll kind of give me a chance to re-release it. It's been out probably a month and a half or so. And I hit it pretty hard in the first couple weeks. But so we'll see. It's out there for the world, and that's, you know, a good song will supersede all that. So
Sorry.
No, I was going to say that's the most important thing. It is out there, and you know, and you are doing something new. You have plans for it, so it is definitely going to have that forward momentum. So obviously, best of luck, and go ahead, Carlos.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was an interesting point Luke raised about the producer's role, and getting the right producer is really important, one that you work well with. But from a producer's stance, I think it's really important that the producer doesn't, some producers have their sound and they put their stamp. Whoever they produce, Jeff Lynne, it will sound like a Jeff Lynne type of production, and same with Daniel Lanois and all those sort of very strong production sounds and values. However, some groups go to those producers for that sound, so that's one thing. But the other thing I think is really important, the most important thing, in fact, is that the producer listens and listens and listens to the song, immerses themselves in it, and is totally sympathetic to the sensibilities of the song. For instance, there was that one where John Paul Atkinson in Germany did his anti-war song, asked me to produce it, and I, again, like this, I had with some finger snaps and shakers and finger cymbals and all sorts of things added onto it, breath vocals that we spoke about earlier. And it just changed the nature of the song. I didn't want to change it too radically, but it kind of did. And but I wanted it to be in keeping with what hopefully he envisaged. And everything that I added could be justified with a good, strong argument. It was done because of this. And then, he would either push back or say, oh, yeah, okay, that's fine then. So that's really important, that you have that dialogue between yourself, and if you're using a producer, then, between the two of you, but that they've understood what you want and that they're sympathetic to what you want. And sometimes it's great because you might not quite know what you want, but they interpret it so well, they
Right.
just create this whole new thing that you, as Luke is, so proud of.
Yeah, well, this is the thing: is that you can't really have a disconnect between the musician and the producer, right? It has to be a genuine back and forth. Like here's what I want, here's what I want, and I think that this is missing, but I don't know exactly what's missing. Well, here's my idea, and then boom, and then you end up with a song like what we just listened to, right? So, when there's that connection, something good is going to come out of it. If there's a disconnect, then then it's not going to go through, because probably one of the more well-known producers of this generation is going to be Rick Rubin, and Rick Rubin's pretty much, he's done a lot, and it's just that fact is like, listen to this and listen to this and listen to this, grab the input, and then go with that process, right? Because going from like Beastie Boys to Jay-Z, and kind of like all over the place, we're talking about different types of music, but all in all, it just has that super memorable sound, right? So I think that, what was your producer's name, Luke?
Holt Williams.
That might be a name to look out for also, as far as a producer goes, right? So I think very well done all around, honestly.
Thank
Just
you.
kidding. Yeah. I think everyone and everything came together at the right time. So, folks, if you want to grab that song and put it on your playlist, please visit the link description below. You can catch Luke on TikTok as well, becoming a big celebrity there. Nearly 40. Did you surpass already 40,000, or are you just about to?
Yeah, close, and hopefully before the year ends.
Hopefully before the year ends, 40,000 followers. Luke's TikTok link will be in the video description below. Go check out his original stuff there. Go check out the live versions. Obviously, catch his live videos. Check out the versions that he has out already. It's been a pleasure from start to finish knowing Luke and seeing what he's doing so far, and we look forward to hearing more, especially with the newly kind of like original music coming out, rather than what you pretty much started off with, covers, right?
I was pretty happy and content just doing, cover music. And as I said, I didn't, if you'd interviewed me 6 months ago, I would have said, and you said you're going to write a song, I would have said, no way. So
yeah.
It's been fast and furious. So like I said, this whole journey has literally been 1 year long, to almost to the day. It's been a year long. So I got bored, got on TikTok, and started playing music around Christmas time of last year. to literally nobody. And then it's grown to with 0 following anywhere to where we are today, where like I said, if you give me a crystal ball and said you'll have a music video and you wrote a song, and I would have said there's no way, but here we are. So
there you go, folks. Going from covers to music videos to TikTok headquarters to working with producers to all kinds of stuff going on. Believe in yourself, believe in your dreams. If you want to make it come true, it can come true. Believe you me, Luke H. Reynolds is proof of that. Once again, visit the video description below, find the links to Luke, download his stuff, go show him some love. And boy, unfortunately, here we are with song number 10.
Yep, it's that show closer time, and we've got the AUTOMANIC band, or just known as AUTOMANIC, from Sacramento, California, in USA. They are an alternative pop rock band. Influences include 1975, Madonna, Harry Styles, Coldplay, Ariana Grande, and this one is called Rockstar. It's only 2.5 minutes long, thereabouts, but it is very upbeat and poppy, so it comes under the singer-songwriter category, but I'll put it under pop as well. It's, yeah, very much pop.
Well, I like the album artwork. I'll tell you that much. It's definitely got the 80s vibe to it, going just from the artwork alone. So let's check this one out. This one is AUTOMANIC with Rockstar. Let's check it out.
We wanna party like the rock stars, driving a nice car. So let's take it slow, make this whole city glow. It's still the show, yeah. Under the city lights, can you see me bright? Yeah, you really might, yeah, you really might. 'Cause I'm on my way to the top, nobody can make me stop. We're on our way to the top, AUTOMANIC is the one. We'll make you say, guitar, you could call me Rockstar. Ring ring, jump out, I've been waiting in the car. I usually don't rap, yeah, I'm a rock star, but tonight I feel like I can do it all. Make some noise, let's have some fun. Ladies and gentlemen, the show is on. 1 shot, 2 shot, K-Dot, head tight. Video or not, here coming in hot. Keep it lit, always high, don't wanna go low. On the stage, kill the show, make them say whoa, whoa. On the way to the top, nobody can make me stop. We're on the way to the top, AUTOMANIC is the one. You wanna hear me say that it's the you wanna see the stars. You've got to put your eyes. You wanna hear me say that it's the
Rockstar right there. For your last review of the evening, Mr. Luke H. Reynolds, what did you think?
yeah, immediately I thought Maroon 5 Ed Sheeran, that intro, very good, very pleasing vocals. It's got that kind of club backbeat that you're hearing in modern music right now, modern commercial music. Essentially, I kind of noticed that it can be played in clubs, right? It's got a beat enough in it that it can be played in clubs. It had a nice kind of couple pauses that were drops where they dropped a chorus in there. They had very different sections They were very diverse in the sections. They had a rap, kind of blues travelers kind of rap. Very well produced, commercially strong for today, for sure. Fits today's music style. And then I thought the acoustic finish, some of the kind of the lo-fi additions they had to the song, I thought that just, like I said, fits today's genre commercially.
Carl,
Agreed. Very poppy indeed. I think the picky intro, these little guitar picked intro, really does catch your ear, and then you're in from there. And it's actually a fast ride. It's like being on a roller coaster ride, because it has got, as Luke said, a lot crammed into 2.5 minutes. If you were going to give an example of a textbook way of producing the modern pop song, this would be it, really, because it's got the vocoder effect, it's got the contemporary vocal style plus a little bit of rap in it, it's got the slight auto-tune effect as well, the megaphone effect appears as well, that we mentioned is probably overused, but it's there. It's radio friendly, it's pretty much the archetypal modern pop production. It's got TV advert and commercial advertising use written all over it, so you could see a car advert or something for sports. But you actually also sensed with the drops and everything, but also building up to that first chorus, you could sense it building and swelling. So that was really well handled, and I think it's I mean the producer on this one has done an excellent job of producing a modern, contemporary, radio-friendly pop song.
Not only radio-friendly, but I'm just going to radio-friendly, contemporary, whatever you want to call it. It is super commercially viable. This song has a lot of potential because, as you said, Carl, from the moment that picking starts, you're hooked right into the song, and you only go up from there, really. So I just made general notes. Love the vocal effects. Love the kind of like punk to rock to rap to hip hop to pop back to rock kind of vibe that this thing had going on, throughout. And then obviously with the vocal effects added into it, just made it that much better. So all in all, I gotta say it's a crowd pleaser. Once again, as my two cohorts here have mentioned already, that it is commercially viable and it is very poppy and very, very listenable. It's very groovy. This is one of those songs that you wouldn't skip past if it came up on your playlist, if it was just randomly, right? So liked it. Good job. It's really what we can say for Rockstar right there is good job. Nicely done. And because I don't know, does AUTOMANIC have more stuff going on?
Yeah, they've got how many songs? 4 tracks uploaded so far. I've not actually heard them yet. I still need to go through them, but it's going to be interesting. It looks like they probably do quite a few different. Well, there's a breakup song. There's "I'll Miss You" by AUTOMANIC. Yeah, so could be a mixture of stuff. I think it's going to be quite an interesting ride with them.
They have some more stuff going on there. And remember, folks, you can find these artists by visiting the video description below. If you like the AUTOMANIC there or any other one of the artists there, you can click on their links, link up with their Spotify, link up with their Slaps, whichever one makes you happy to take their music home, do that one. Because we are trying to put the us back into music here.
So please do like, subscribe, and share, and we'll find the music that you'll love to hear. Please also click the little bell so you get the notifications when we upload any new videos and new shows.
That's right. I'm going to leave that up to Carl because I was going to start mentioning that notification bell. It's there, so click it. Just do those 3 steps right there. Today, joining us once again, I want to send a special thank you to Luke H. Reynolds for being our co-host today. It was a pleasure having you on board and listening to your thoughts, and much success and best wishes to you, obviously, in the future. Any closing thoughts here, sir?
Thank you guys for having me on. Thank you for shining a light on independent artists and taking the time to think them through, listen to them, and support them. And anytime you guys want me to come on, I'm glad to come join you guys.
That's lovely. Thank you.
Groovy, man. loved having you on. It was once again great to hear your opinion from hearing it from another musician's mouth. This is what we're trying to do, folks. We're trying to bring the indie musicians into the limelight. There is some really good music out there, regardless of what you're into, whether you're into rock or heavy metal or synthwave or 80s or whatever the case may be. There's tons of great music out there, and we do hope to find all of that for you. Until next time, I'm DJ X Tech, Carlos Fandango, Luke H. Reynolds, our co-host here. We want to say good night and have a pleasant day and weekend ahead of you. Take care for now. Bye-bye.